Hello everyone, this is Mukunthan Ragavan, and this video we are going to start our Mastering Git for QA Automation series. As part of this series, we are going to enrich our knowledge for the Git area, and especially we are going to see how can we use the Git for QA automation. In this entire series, we are going to see the different concepts such as what is Git, why do we need the Git, how to set up the Git, what are the different strategies we need to learn as part of the Git. And in this video, we are going to see the introduction part. Let's start with brief overview of Git. Git is a distributed version control system mainly focusing on to track the changes in source code while developing the software application. It allows multiple developers to work on the same project without interfering other changes. How can we achieve these things? The main feature would be branching and merging. While going to the new feature or new changes, developer will be given with the new branch so that they will be having isolated branch. They can work on that without interfering the other code change. And commit history will enable us to track each and every changes being happening either maybe in local or in remote. It will include each and every change, such as creating a new file, deleting a file, changing the existing file, everything will be tracked. And last but not least, it has the distributed nature. Basically, what is distributed is like each developer or each user will have the full copy of the repository in local, including its history. So that means that it enables us to work offline. Whenever we complete our work, we can connect to the remote repository. All these things details will be explained in the later session. However, these are the main features of the Git. Now considering the QA automation testers. Before considering the QA automation testers, if we compare the developer and QA automation testers, both will code, both will have the source code, both will have the build management tool, both will have different members in their team so that they need to confirm it has not been overwritten by one with others. So that's the reason in this context, even QA automation tester and the developer would be considered as the same. In coming sessions, whenever we see either QA or automation tester, both will be considered as the same. Let's consider what is the main point of using the Git for QA automation testers. Collaboration. Yes. Same like developers, we will also have the different team members in the automation project. So we need to interact and we need to have the changes or the coding from the different members. To collaborate with each other, we need the Git. Version control. Same like developers, we need to track our changes in the test script because in case of any failure, in case of any changes in the automation script, we need to track with the version. And branching and workflow management, same like developers, we are also having the branches. However, in developer perspective, we will create the branches based on the new features, new functions inside the application. Whereas in case of automation testers, we will create the branches for the different environments. For example, your software application or application under test might be having the different environments. Example, development environment, system testing environment, system integration environment, and UAT environment. Sometimes some of the functionalities may be available only in the specific environment. So in that case, if you want to automate something on the specific environment, in that case, you will have the different branches. At the same time, in automation, we will have the different tools and different strategies and different weighting mechanism. So basically, when you try to experiment something on your test automation test cases, you can create your own future branch and you can work on that and test it. At the same time, if application is being tested by multiple automation testers, obviously we need the branching. When you have the branching, how do you merge? How do you make sure everyone changes are added to the main branch? All these things can be coming under the branching and workflow management. So having the Git knowledge is very much essential for the automation testers. And foremost and main point is CI/CD. Whenever you see the application, you will have the CI/CD pipeline, which means whenever developer commits the code, automatically it triggers the pipeline. Example, taking the code from the repository. Here I am mentioning the code as the application code. Then it will just do the unit testing. It will build the application. It will try to deploy. After deploying, again, you might need the automation code to test the application. So that time again, you need to connect to the repo, but this time you will be connected to the automation test case repo and you will be doing the different Git commands. To understand the development better, to understand the CI/CD process for test automation, again, Git knowledge is very much important for the QA automation testers. If you are the experienced person, if you are the DevOps engineer, and it will be very much essential. Last but not least, audit trail and accounting. Same like development, here also we need to audit trail for all the users or all the automation testers. So that Git knowledge is again very much important. How are we going to handle this roadmap? How are we going to learn something from this entire series? We are going to cover major points about the Git. Maybe it will be covering sometimes with the terminal, it will be sometimes covering with the IDE. If you are totally automation tester at the beginner level, you can simply use the IDE, maybe the VS Code or Eclipse or IntelliJ, because every modern IDE will have the setup for the Git. But if you are someone who is interested to understand the things from the background, or if you are the DevOps engineer to learn more about the Git and strategies, then you will be understanding something on the Git commands level. We will see all the possible tools which can be used along with Git, and we will try to understand the different service provider for the Git repositories. So starting with roadmap, we are going to see the how to set up the Git and where can we see the Git in our application and what does it do to our repository, and core Git commands and concepts, basic operations such as like adding the file to the repository, committing to the local repository, pushing to the remote repository, and so on. Then we will be seeing the working directory, staging area, repository. If you understand these three concepts, then you will be having the clear idea what are the commands we are using in that. Obviously, branching is the very main one. We will try to understand why branching, what are the different branching strategies we can use, considering both development and QA automation. Merging again, it has the different strategies. Those also we will be discussing. Merging also having the different strategies. Those also we will be discussing. We will include the branching strategies as well. Then understanding the remote repository, tagging and releases, rewriting the history with Git, stashing changes, pull requests, and automating workflows with Git hooks. Git hooks is the main one because this is the one will trigger your entire pipeline whenever the commit happens to one of the repository. So this entire thing will be covered in this series. So let's start with Git introduction in this video. In coming videos, we will be going to the next level of topics. Till then, thanks, like, share, and subscribe. And always be a rainbow in others' cloud.